Stress has its fingerprints on every single organ system in your body. It can cause heart attacks, hypertension, diabetes, migraines, strokes, seizures, insomnia, autoimmune diseases, degrades your immunity and you can get infections. People don't start thinking about this stuff until last minute, until when they have a heart attack, until something really bad happens.
This silent killer, as a doctor, what are you seeing, and how do you explain that to your patients? Because people are so busy. I always hear people tell me, I'm too busy to meditate, I'm too busy to do anything different.
Welcome to the Brain Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Patrick Porter. Please join us on our mission to better a billion brains. Enjoy the episode and remember to share it with your family and friends.
Hello out there, this is Dr. Patrick Porter, and welcome back to the Brain Fitness Podcast, where we're bringing you experienced professionals like Dr. Dintyala, who we're talking to today, who goes by Dr. Calm. And I want him to introduce himself to you and tell us a little bit about his history, because this is a medical doctor, folks, that's teaching his clientele and the world now. He wants to open it up to the world to help them to be calm, to basically begin to live their best life now through happiness and health and harmony within their physiology, their psychology, and basically putting it all together. So Dr. Calm, tell us a little bit about how you started your journey and what brought you to teaching your client base, your patients, meditation.
Sure. Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Kiran Dintyala, and thanks, Dr. Patrick Porter, for inviting me to your podcast. It's an honor. You have been such a successful person in this area, and it's a privilege. So how I actually got into stress management and teaching people calm. By profession, I am a medical doctor, an internal medicine physician. And what I noticed years ago was that everyone is stressed around. And the patients, my colleagues, friends, family, and I was too at one point of time. And and stress has such a huge impact on our physical health. Most people think that stress is simply mental. No. It starts there, but affects your whole body. In fact, what I call is that stress has its fingerprints on every single organ system in your body. It can cause heart attacks, hypertension, diabetes, migraines, strokes, seizures, insomnia, autoimmune diseases, degrades your immunity and you can get infections, forms clots in your lungs. So there's so many things. Peptic ulcer, ulcers in the stomach. I mean, so many things. So early on in my career, I said, you know what? I'm helping my patients with medications and all the other good things that we do in medical practice. But if I don't help them with their stress levels, then I'm not doing total justice to my profession or to them. And that is when I said, you know what, I'm going to do this along with my medical practice.
That's awesome. Now, I know I watched some of your videos. You have some incredible, insightful videos on YouTube that I'm going to encourage everyone to go watch, because you share a lot. You actually share some techniques, but you talk about 80% of all chronic disease is rooted in prolonged exposure to stress. Can you explain a little bit about that and why that happens?
Yeah, sure. I mean, all the research points out to that. Essentially, when someone is stressed for a long time, what we call is a chronic stress, ongoing stress, that leads to chronic inflammation in your body. And we all know now in this age, 21st century, that inflammation is the primary factor for many diseases. And we even have a term called inflammaging. Means, people who are chronically inflamed, they age faster. And, when you look at all that evidence, and like I said, heart diseases, cancer, autoimmune diseases, and many other things, it is pretty evident. It is just clear. What is astounding, though, is there is not there are not too many solutions for stress. There are few people like you, me, and maybe a few others who are really taking this message to the public and saying, you know what? You need to be happy. You need to keep your stress levels away. And that is how you're going to reverse your aging, be happy, healthy, improve your relationships. There are so many other benefits to being calm, peaceful. And that is what motivates me.
Yeah, it's awesome. Now, we've heard before that stress is considered the silent killer. Being an internist, and I know you came from India, you came over here and you trained at Virginia, you trained at Albert Einstein University, all of these things, and now you're in the most beautiful place on earth, La Jolla, California, which I'm very jealous of because I know the weather there is perfect almost every day. But tell me a little bit about why, when we think about this silent killer as a doctor, what are you seeing, and how do you explain that to your patients? Because people are so busy. I always hear people tell me, I'm too busy to meditate, I'm too busy to do anything different. How do you say that to your patients so that they actually a lot of people wait for a breakdown to have a breakthrough, right? So how do you get them before they have that breakdown to start meditating?
Yeah, that's true though. What you said is so true, that people don't start thinking about this stuff until last minute, until when they have a heart attack, until something really bad happens. Okay, I'll do two things here, okay? Number one, I'm going to give you a couple of examples so that our audience, people who are watching this, will truly understand the impact of stress in real time, in real life. So once I had a patient. He was in his mid-40s, came in saying he has chest pain. And then we ran the test, what we call is troponins, heart enzymes, and they were slightly elevated. And I'm like, wow, this guy doesn't have high blood pressure, doesn't have diabetes, no other things. Why is he getting a heart attack at such a young age? Not a smoker. And then after a little digging deep into his history and all that, and ask him, tell me what's going on at home. Are you stressed out? And yeah, I'm so stressed. I have been actually for the past many months because my daughter was doing drugs. And then I have been trying to convince her to get rid of that habit. And then we had a major argument and, last night, and now I end up here in the hospital. Okay, example number one, stress causes heart attacks. Example, right? Example number two. I have a few patients, and in fact, I have a relative, my uncle, who I think he was 55 or so. And then at that time, he lost his mother. And that was a very devastating event for him. He has a very strong bond with his mother. And then he calls me a week to 10 days later saying that his legs are swollen. His whole body is actually getting swollen. And I said, what's going on here? So we got him an echocardiogram, which showed his ejection fraction, what we call heart function, came down to like 20%. Normally, it should be somewhere around 60 to 65%, 20%. So nothing else, no hypertension, no diabetes, nothing. So his diagnosis, of course, is what we call stress cardiomyopathy, also called Takotsubo cardiomyopathy. So another one. And he improved after his stress levels have gone down and we helped him. So he improved automatically. Now he doesn't have any heart failure, nothing, So, but sometimes people, if they don't manage their stress, it can continue to get worse and they'll die. So there are things like this. And then when people experience these extreme events in life, it becomes a little easier to convince them to say, hey, you know what? You need to incorporate how to be calm, peaceful, happy in your life. But there are times when people come to my office. For example, right now, I'm being very proactive. No matter what reason they come here for, It could be hypertension. It could be diabetes. It could be some, autoimmune disease or some gastrointestinal problem, like, GI, belly. Those, I start explaining them the value of learning stress management. And I show them the research. I show them the facts. And in fact, I want to get your device, braintap, so that I can show them visually that they are stressed and, that they can change it, and how it improves their lives. So I'm very proactive now. I don't wait until the last minute. And people are very receptive to that.
Yeah. So when you think about stress and how it affects health, when you're telling these, I mean, you can show them through tests, but not everybody's going to go get a test. So just kind of take me through. I come in to see you. I'm having, maybe I'm having anxiety, worry. A lot of people they just want to go. And a lot of medical doctors do this. They just say, okay, here's a prescription, and I know we talked a little bit about how meditation is your medication, but tell me a little bit about how do you explain it? Because so many people out there in the West, especially, their first solution is a pill. And I have a saying, you can't have the pill without the skill. To do that. So tell me a little bit about how that works for you. I mean, how does that, how do you, the main thing I'm asking is because there's people out there who are going to be listening to this. They go to their medical doctor. They don't have the background you have. They don't understand. I mean, they understand that stress is causing it, but a lot of people don't go any farther. They don't look at the solution. They go, oh yeah, here's the problem. It's stress. Oh, take this pill. And see, the old saying, take this pill, call me in the morning. As a medical doctor, I mean, I'm just really curious for my own, because there's so, I mean, 300,000 medical professionals left the profession last year because they were disappointed in pharmaceuticals. Yeah. Right. They weren't serving people. And you were ahead of the game. You've been doing this for how many years? How long have you been doing this?
Oh, more than a decade. Yeah.
More than a decade. So you saw this trending really before a lot of your fellow, medical professionals. And a lot of people think, wow, I invested all this money. I mean, I know your education was very costly. What they didn't give it to you for free, especially when you came over here to the US. And this is a very expensive program that you entered into, being an internist. And now you're saying, hey, I'm Dr. Calm now, and I'm going to teach you how to relax. And this is going to help you in all phases of your life. Like you said, the fingerprint is out there on every organ of the body. So what is your secret sauce that you tell them that gets them motivated to actually start doing what you say? Because so many doctors I talk to say, I've told them to start meditating. They don't have a solution. And I know on your YouTube channel, you have courses, right? So you can direct your patients to actually educate them and learn. But how do you get them to take that first step? Because there's people out there that are going to be watching this that just had their breakdown, yeah. And so they're looking for a breakthrough out there, and you might have the solution for them, is all I'm saying. So what would you say to that person?
Sure. There are two kinds of people I noticed over the years. The one who get really motivated by learning and understanding what I call the deadly consequences of stress. Mm-hmm. Pain motivates them, like fear motivates them. So there is something called the 7 deadly consequences of stress, how it affects your health, your relationships, your finances, finally leads to depression and even suicide for people, And I show them some of the research behind. I don't want to bore them with all that, but I show them there is hey, I'm not making it up. Look, we have all this. So they feel like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, is it all? Does it all happen, doctor? Oh yes, that all happens. So if you don't take action now, so they are ready to take action. That is one way. Okay. The other way is there are some people who want to pursue happiness, peace, balance in their lives. They are tired of running on that hamster wheel, being stuck in the rat race. And then I show them how, if you practice 15 to 20 minutes a day, calmness, that changes your life forever. What I explain them, in fact, is first I ask them actually, hey, did you brush your teeth this morning when you woke up? And they say, oh, yeah. What happens if you don't for the next 1 week? Of course, it's going to be foul smelling,
Yes.
right? Now, how much time do you spend to take a shower? Maybe 5-10 minutes, and then eat another 10-15 minutes, and throughout the day, you are spending at least a couple of hours to take care of your body. I'm not talking about going to gym, doing yoga and all those things, just basic needs of your body. A couple of hours a day you're spending. Now, do you do anything to take care of your mind? 99% of the time, the answer is no. Now, that's the reason many people's minds are foul smelling, means stressed out because like plaque accumulates on your teeth if you don't brush it every day. Negativity accumulates in our mind if we don't brush it away every day. So what I tell them is, hey, it is just maintaining your mind. You're born with a healthy mind. That is who you are to begin with, when you came onto this earth. Now you have ignored it for a long time. That's the reason you're feeling stressed, you're unhappy, and all these things are happening. Now it is time that we take back control. It's up to you. Stress is a choice. And brush your teeth, brush your mind, empty your mind of negativity every night before you go to sleep. Just that changes your life. And I motivate them further by saying 15 to 20 minutes a day. That is what all you need.
Mm-hmm.
Basics. You do it consistently. I bet in a month, you're going to see significant positive change. And they do find that positive change, and it further motivates them.
Yeah, that's great. Now, you talked a little bit about happiness, and I think people, like you said, there is this group of people out there. I love that they did a study in marketing with the electric company that I think kind of shares this with the listeners. They actually said, hey, put this meter on your home and you can save 15%. And they got only 3% of the people to respond. They put out a postcard that said, you're losing 15% because you didn't put this meter on your house. And they got 83% of the people to respond. I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same message.
Yeah.
But so many people are motivated by this negative stuff. And I think you're along with me with this formula for happiness. And how do you get somebody to switch those gears? Because you've created a formula, right? And that formula helps people to really dig inside and find out that that's kind of our natural state, right? I mean, our natural state is to be happy. So tell us a little bit about this formula, how you created it, how you've experienced it with people, and how are people responding to this formula?
Absolutely. So every single time I share it, whether it is a patient, client, one-on-one, or at a seminar, especially how we can tap into our inner happiness, I have always gotten such a positive response. And they say, oh, this changed my life. How come no one ever told me? It's pretty simple and straightforward.
Right.
So the first thing is what I tell people in that 15 to 20 minutes is I created a system, a 3-step system that makes it easy for them. Years ago, when I was stressed out and I didn't know what exactly to do, it was very accidentally that I stumbled upon certain principles and techniques that helped me calm down instantaneously in the midst of chaos. Financially, it was a big failure at the time. Career-wise, it was terrible. I was relatively new to the United States. So many things happening and almost like clueless situation at one point of time. And I was almost kind of ready to go back to India because I had no choice, But then when I stumbled upon these principles and techniques that I share with people now, what happened was all of a sudden, when I was listening to some of the teachings, I felt such a deep peace within. And I was like, how is that possible? None of the situations around me changed. How can I be so peaceful? And then I continued to listen to the audio I was listening to at the time. And then 5 minutes later, I started feeling joyful. I said, what the heck? Something must be wrong with me. I can't be feeling joyful when, just 10 minutes ago, I was going crazy and I was so negative. And how is that? How is it even possible? So I immediately called my professor at the time who was teaching stress management resiliency in the university. And I told her this experience. Am I going crazy? I asked her. And she said, no, you just tapped into your what is called innate health, your inner happiness, your inner peace that has been sitting there all along and you didn't know. And you just tapped into it. So you're fine. And I said, okay, relieved. And then that experience changed everything for me because not only I was feeling peaceful and joyful, but in 3 months, everything changed in my life. As I continue to practice deep calmness, miracles happen in my life. And then the failure reversed into a success, the misery reversed into happiness, and all the good things in life. And I said at the time, wow, truly, peace of mind is within you. Truly, happiness is within you. I need to teach this to other people. And then so I started taking, courses, studying during my master's in public health, and then researching, doing this, that, experimenting and all that. And finally, what I said was, yeah, that's great. But mine was a sporadic experience. Mm-hmm. How can I make this a repeatable experience, not only for me, but for the rest of the world, so that people don't have to suffer the way that I suffered, And after years of teaching this, in different formats and all that, finally, I came up with what is called the happiness formula. The happiness formula, which simplifies everything, all the teaching that over 15, 20 years, all my life, what I learned. And the formula is 4, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. 4, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. That's the formula. So what does it mean? 4 stands for 4 forces that pull you out of despair, no matter where you are. There are a lot of people who commit suicides because they feel hopeless. They are desperate. And if you know these 4 forces, you can pull yourself out of no matter what the situation is, and then again, see the light at the end of the tunnel. And once you do that, it changes everything. So those are the 4 forces. And those are hope, faith, patience, endurance. We can find more detail later. I know we are short on time probably. So, and then there are 2 pillars, which I call the foundation for lasting peace and joy in life. Because once you come out of that pit of misery using those 4 forces, now you need to build a foundation of peace and joy so that, you can continue to be happy and not fall into that pit again. And those 2 pillars are innate health, which is your natural state of mental well-being, where you're born peacefully and joyfully to begin with. And number 2 is resilience, your capacity to bounce back from a stressful state to peace. That is resilience. And as we strengthen these 2 divine gifts that we already have within, we build a strong foundation. And number 3 part, 4, 2, 1, right? The 1 is understanding actually what stress is. Most people have no clue what stress is. They are stressed. They have heard about stress so many times, but they don't know what is the true origin of stress in their lives. So once you understand that, you're like, oh, okay. What the heck? I don't even have to be stressed. I'm good. They realize that stress is an illusion created by their mind. There's a powerful understanding. Once they come to it, it changes everything. So that is 4, 2, 1. And the second part of the formula is 3, 2, 1, which is what I call is the 3-step system for stress-free living. 3 principles, 2 relaxation exercises, 1 calming technique, which you can very practically put into, your life every day. You can practice, and 15 to 20 minutes a day. And the more you do it, the deeper your peace, your calmness within, the happiness within, you almost become unshakable. Anything would happen, and you're like, okay, I'll handle it gracefully. I'm fine. Because now you're not anymore dependent on external circumstances for your happiness. You're not ruffled easily. Yeah, in a nutshell, that is what it is.
That's awesome. So, and people are practicing these techniques, and if I went to your Instagram or your LinkedIn or your Twitter or your Facebook accounts, which are all drcalm.md, tell us a little bit about what we're going to learn there. Will we learn about this formula, or what are we going to see and learn and experience there?
Yeah, absolutely. So predominantly, if you look at my social media, it is about stress awareness. People need to know what stress is, how it is affecting their lives, and what can they do about it. I also call improve your stress IQ. Like you have normal IQ, you need to improve your stress IQ. And the more you do that, you get better. They can get all that information there. I have a YouTube channel. And then they can also visit my website, drcalm.world, as well as stressfreerevolution.com, and a ton of resources and information for them. And they could always email me also. I'm more than happy to give away free material content for people, because I'm not looking to make money out of this. I'm looking to help people. So ask me a question, I'm here to help. I'll be happy to provide the link. Click it and book a free 30-minute consultation so that they can understand what stress is and how it is affecting their life and how I can help them. Also, apart from the link, they could simply email at drcalm.md@gmail.com, and that would do.
Okay. What if I forgot to ask you about either, being calm or being happy, or what do you think with your, you're on a mission similar to mine, where we're out there helping. I basically stated I'm out there to better 1 billion brains. And obviously you can't really help a stressed out brain or a brain that's in disarray. So what if I forgot to ask you? Because there's so much. I mean, I'm sure we've talked for hours before, so I know that we could spend a lot of time talking here. What if I forgot to ask you think that is key for this conversation, or reinforce something that you've talked about?
Yeah. So I want people to realize that stress is a far dangerous and bigger pandemic than COVID. That sounds a little, a shocking statement, but that is true. COVID probably killed millions of people. Yes, they did. We know that. But if you look at stress, the world population is almost around 8 billion now. 90% of people are stressed at any point of time. Any seminar I go to, I say, how many of you are stressed? Almost 99% raise their hands. And then there is 1 or 2 people who don't. And I go to them and say, hey, what's going on? And then they also raise their hands. They're just lazy.
Right. Yeah.
So the point is 90% of people, or more than that, are stressed. And out of them, at least 50% are like severely stressed, chronically stressed. Unfortunately, we live in this world that you're talking about billions of people being affected every day. That is bigger than COVID. That is bigger than all the epidemics that happened in this world, for the past 2,000, 3,000 years that we have known. So this deserves major attention. That is what my message for people. What I call for is creating calm zones throughout the world. Right now, if you feel like want to have coffee, for example, you go to Starbucks, right? If you want to eat, you go to a restaurant. But if you're stressed out, where do you go? Nowhere to go. So we should create what I call calm zones throughout the world, both physically as well as in social media, where you spend 10, 15 minutes there and it de-stresses you and you're calm and you get back to work. And I think we should work on it.
Yeah. What do you think the role is in being calm? As a last question here, what do you think is the role of being calm in brain fitness? I mean, from a medical doctor's perspective. I mean, when people thinking, here we are at the Brain Fitness Podcast, teaching people how to use their brain more efficiently. What do you think that role is? I mean, say somebody who's in a stress state versus a calm state, how effective is their brain in either of those states?
And when people are stressed out, it's totally ineffective. I see that all the time. When people are restless, stressed, they are inefficient. They miss their deadlines, and they can't even focus on one task. But when you're calm, you're like a pro. You're multitasking. Means something you're focusing on. This happens all the time to me and doctors like me, nurses, health professionals, and other people who are busy. Like you're doing something, and then as a doctor, I get a call from pharmacist saying that, hey, this medication, Oh, okay, got it. Hold it. I'll take it. Come back here. And the nurse calls me here saying that this patient needs this. I say, okay, I'll talk to her and then come back here. And then medical student says something. All right, okay. And then so we are full of distractions. The world is full of distractions, whether you're a doctor or no matter what your profession is, any high demanding job. And if your mind is calm, what I notice is you can focus on things. And even though you get distracted, you come back to it. You retain that concentration. And then you finish everything faster. You have more time for your hobbies. Like people ask me, how did you write 4 books, 5 books? You have family, you have medical practice, you have this, that. I said, I think the habit of calmness comes to my rescue. And the focus and all that. So even for work purposes, efficiency purposes, finances, people should practice calmness. And people often think that calmness is being passive, like being zoned out. Like no. You can be very active and yet be calm. Calmness simply means getting rid of the stress, getting rid of the restlessness in you. Be full of energy, focused, peaceful. That is what it is. So practice calmness.
Awesome. Yeah, this is great information. You're hearing it from a medical doctor who actually goes by Dr. Calm. So it's super important that we take that time. I know that there's been research that shows even 5 minutes a day, just being in a mindful state, which is kind of a word that's been abused now because people don't really know how that is. But just being calm, I think that gives somebody, if you let the waves of irritation and anger and all those things, just let them pass through you and focus on what happens. Like you said, the innate intelligence of our body or consciousness, however you want to think about that, will help us to regulate. And I don't think anybody out there would argue that when you're in a relaxed, calm state, you make better decisions rather than, making under stressful states. In fact, if you take a stress test and you're getting a divorce, you got fired from your job, you're moving across town, they say, don't make any major decisions because your brain just isn't functioning right. So if you're in the state where when you're in that state where you want to learn more from Dr. Calm, remember, we're going to put all that information in the show notes. Please reach out to him. He's a great guy to talk to. He's not selling you anything. Like you said, you can learn things from his information on social media. And I'm going to keep pushing Dr. Calm to get us some meditations to put onto BrainTap. So if you're a BrainTap user, we're going to get some meditations from him that help you to focus and center on calm, because I know experiences beats knowledge all the time. Once you have the experience of being calm, you're going to actually amplify that experience. So Dr. Calm, I want to thank you for being with us with the Brain Fitness Podcast. We look forward to doing more with you. We talked a little bit about We're getting ready to launch in India, and who better to take us there than you? You've been there, you know what it's about. You speak the language that we'll need. I mean, English, of course, is a big language over there, but there's all sorts of other languages. I don't know how many. They told me there's like 56 different dialects. I mean, it's a big country, billions of people.
Yeah.
And they're moving away from calm, right? I mean, when I went over to Ames Bhopal, they're saying, hey, we got to do something about saving our culture because they all want to be like Americans. And we're finding that it looks glamorous on TV, but the reality is it's a stressed out state of affairs.
Exactly.
And we need to take that time to be calm. And so I want to thank you again for being part of the mission to better a billion brains, helping us to educate the world that being calm is a brain fitness practice that's going to help you to have better relationships, better job life. You were saying how it basically influences every area. Just like you said, it's got the fingerprint on every organ of your body. Stress will have its fingers all over or its hands all over every area of your life. So if you want to improve every area, first start improving your sense of calm and well-being. So again, thank you and congratulations on what you're doing.
Thank you. It's a privilege again. Like, it is an honor to be with you on Brain Fitness podcast today. You are a very accomplished person, and what a great way to start my day in the morning.
Excellent. So please like and share this podcast. Let's get the word out about Dr. Calm. He's doing this really because it helped him. And I love it when people have done something for themselves, almost like a biohacker before it was a popular term. He was out there biohacking his brain in his physiology, really. And I'm a firm believer in the same thing you're saying, is that it's not all psychological, it's physiological. We need to get people into that calm state so their mind and body can work together. So let's share this out there to the world. Take advantage of everything he's offering you. It's given freely. You can go to his Instagram, his YouTube. All the links will be below. It's drcalm.md is his handle, if you will, on all those social media sites. Easy to get to, easy to understand, really nice. I love your shorts as well, the little videos that you do explaining things. So thank you very much for all you do. Again, this is Dr. Patrick Porter with the Brain Fitness Podcast, bringing to you cutting-edge technology to help you to better your brain and help me to reach my goal of bettering a billion brains. And you can help by liking and sharing this with all of your family members, friends, and coworkers, especially those you know that aren't experiencing that deep calm, because that's what we talked about today. And Dr. Calm, again, thank you for being here.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Have a nice day.
Thank you for joining us on our mission to better a billion brains. Follow at Dr. Patrick Porter on social media for updates, and remember to practice brain fitness every day.